Interest rates. The Independent Bank of England has cut them. You're not going to take credit for that, are you?
I welcome the fact that interest rates have come down today. That's good news for homeowners, good news for businesses. And interest rates have now come down 5 times since Labour came to office, in part because of the stability that we've managed to return to the economy after the chopping and changing, the mini budget under the Conservatives and Liz Truss. And what that means, that 5th cut in interest rates, is that if you're taking out a mortgage for £215,000, you're going to be paying on a variable rate around £140 less a month than when we came to office just over a year ago. So this is good news for people wanting to get on the housing ladder, people remortgaging, and also businesses borrowing to grow.
Lovely. One or two other things for the pool then. Someone who you spoke about on the podcast is Gordon Brown. He has an idea. He says you should raise a gambling tax in order to fund a child benefit. He says you're thinking about that, are you?
So I talked to Gordon regularly and saw him last week when I was in Scotland. Like Gordon, I am deeply concerned around the levels of child poverty in Britain. No child should grow up hungry or parents not be able to afford the basics for their family. We're a Labour government, of course we care about child poverty. That's why one of the first things we did as a government was to set up a child poverty task force. That will be reporting in the autumn and we'll respond to it then. And on gambling taxes, we've already launched a review into gambling taxes. We're taking evidence on that at the moment, and again we'll set out our policies in the normal way in our budget later this year.
And one political one, if I may. The Conservatives have called for the Housing Minister to resign, having ended a tenancy and then charge an extra £700. It's not a very good look, is it?
I don't know the details, but Rushanara Ali seems to have done everything in accordance with the law, and I really don't understand why the Conservatives are calling for that.
Right, that's the end of the pool. Over to... Okay, right, just two ITV Wales type questions. So, Chancellor, what brings you to Wales today?
That the spending review just a couple of months ago, the Labour government, the UK Labour government, put money into coal tip remediation, working with the Welsh Labour government, 2 governments working in partnership, £118 million over 3 years, money that just wasn't made available by the previous Conservative government. We know how important the coal mining community and that legacy was for Wales, but also the challenges that poses today. And there's probably not a community in South Wales or a family in South Wales that doesn't know about the impact of the unstable coal tips and those accidents that we've had, including in the last couple of years. And that's why, as a government and me as Chancellor in my first spending review, have put money into coal tip remediation, and I'm here today to see the difference that is making, protecting communities but also protecting the wildlife here and creating new opportunities for economic development and industry here in South Wales.
Do you feel the Treasury has a moral duty to pay for this coal remediation?
I think there's absolutely a duty for the UK Labour government and also the Welsh government to work together. The whole of the United Kingdom has benefited from coal in Wales, and therefore it's right that the UK make sure that these communities are now safe. They've done a huge amount for the UK in providing that coal. We need to now make sure that those tips are safe and that we don't have those landslides. And I think that everybody across the UK recognises those contributions of South Wales, but also recognise how important it is that there is safety now in those communities.
Not far from this community, there is Port Talbot, a town which has experienced a lot of hardship recently, and I've spent the morning there. I'm picking up the same vibe from people. They don't feel better off than a year ago. You've got businesses saying their profits are down, they're worried about the future. What can you do to help them?
Well, I'm going to be in Port Talbot later today and work closely with the Welsh Labour government and the local MPs here. We renegotiated the deal that the previous Tory government did with Tata Steel to protect 5,000 jobs and, crucially, to get that new investment into Port Talbot with the electric arc furnaces. But there's also a big opportunity with the Celtic Sea on the development of offshore wind and floating offshore wind, and Port Talbot is absolutely central to that. So as we bring investment into Britain, as I know Elena Morgan is determined to do, I want to make sure that that benefits people here in the valleys and indeed in Port Talbot.
But the biggest concern they have, one of the biggest concerns, is your national insurance rights. I'll give you an example. There's a hospice called St David's Hospice, a big one in Newport. Overnight, they have to find an extra £180,000. That's not the kind of thing you want to be doing to third sector or small businesses, is it?
Well, when I became Chancellor, the public finances were in a mess and public services were as well. What we've seen since the budget last year is reductions in NHS waiting lists, both in England and in Wales. And that's because we've now got, for the first time in 14 years, a Welsh Labour government and a UK Labour government working in partnership to get people off those waiting lists. We've now delivered millions more appointments in England and Wales over the last year in our NHS, but that was only possible because we raised the money and that money then went into the NHS. And it's also why at the end of last year we were able to make a settlement with the hospices to make sure that they have the money that they need. So I do recognise the challenges that increasing national insurance creates, but without that money we would not have been able to secure the public finances and therefore have the 5 interest rate cuts that we've had, and we would not have been able to get those NHS waiting lists down. So those are the right decisions in the circumstances that we faced, that I faced as Chancellor.
Do you like Leonard Morgan?
Yes, and I'll be seeing Leonard later today. She's been First Minister here in Wales for a year now, and I work closely with her. Also seen Mark Drakeford today, who I had the privilege of working for us for many years when he was First Minister.
Made her life particularly difficult with an election round the corner in less than a year. Are you going to make things easier for her in the budget and have something that she can shout about on the doorstep?
Well, in the spending review just a couple of months ago, we put £118 million into coal tip remediation, money that the previous Tory government had not made available, £445 million into new railway stations, new connections, new trains in both South Wales and North Wales, and a record settlement for the Welsh government worth just over £22 billion a year for the next 3 years. That's the biggest settlement since devolution, and NHS waiting lists are now coming down in Wales. So that's the difference that a Welsh Labour government and a UK Labour government are making together now. For the first time in many years, we've now got a partnership between those governments delivering for the people of Wales.